Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So, I have some news for you about Gen Z voters and Donald Trump. They are done. Yeah, well, not even just Gen Z, young voters in general, like anybody 35 and under, or even, 40 and under, they are done with him, especially young female voters, but especially, or I should say, I guess women more so. I said it's especially women, but men are also ditching him. And I guess the men are more surprising because they were so on board. However, what we're hearing now from some of these Gen V Trump or Gen Z Trump voters is that a lot of them are too afraid to speak out. And this is according to a MAGA podcaster, a Gen Z MAGA podcaster. So this article came out in the Washington Post, and I'm going to share with you some of what was said in here, some of the Gen Z voters that they spoke with. And this is really a reversal of what we saw in 2016. Because if you guys remember, there were these quote unquote shy Trump voters. Remember that? There were the people who were afraid to admit out loud that they actually liked Donald Trump, that they were going to vote for him. Well, that is supposedly one of the reasons why the polling was so off that year. So anyway, the Washington Post, they hosted a focus group with Trump 2024 voters. And these were all North Carolina residents. They were all voters under the age of about, 26. It may have gone higher. The age range may have gone higher than that, but they didn't quote anyone over about 26. So I have some of those quotes for you. I have some other related reporting from a MAGA pollster. So first, 26-year-old Joshua Byers participated in this focus group. He said he believed Donald Trump's promises to lower prices and improve the lives of working class people. Well, now Byers said this. He said, I feel betrayed. I don't know why we are fighting if we have never been attacked. I just don't understand why. So he's obviously talking about the Iran war. And then he said this, I don't really want to vote anymore. I'm really starting to just think it just won't matter. I don't want to feel responsible for taking a vote and feeling misled or misjudged or making a wrong move. And then the Post also said that Byers, his concerns highlight the growing sentiment among young Trump voters or young Trump supporters, I should say. They said that many people in the focus group also believe Donald Trump's lies, but they're realizing now, prices are high. He's focused on international conflict rather than focusing on what he promised to look at here. They're also having issues with the way he's handling immigration. And then they question why they even bothered to vote in the first place. So another focus group participant, a man named James Wiest, I think that's how you pronounce his name, Wiest. Anyway, he's a 23-year-old arcade technician. And he told the moderator that despite Donald Trump's promises, he is still struggling financially. Wiest said this, I wouldn't even say it's living, it's more survival. He's also concerned about the war, just like the other guy. He's worried about it widening. Wiest told the moderator, quote, we are stepping into World War III. We just get closer and closer every year. I agree with his idea of making America great again, but the way he is going about it, it's not who I thought would be running this country. He is really focusing on stuff that pertains to him that he is mad about, and he does not care about what we are mad about. And then, like Byers, Wiest told them, I'm probably not going to vote in the midterms. There was also a woman they spoke with, so 23-year-old Lily Burrow. She also took part in this focus group, and she's a teacher in Charlotte, North Carolina. She voted for Trump not just in 2024, but also in 2020. And Burrow was initially supportive of the attack on Iran because she thought that it was going to be like a quick strike. She thought they would just go in, strike, change the regime, like it was going to be like Venezuela, although they didn't change the regime in Venezuela. But anyway, Burrow now says that the U.S. is, quote, doing Israel's dirty work. And then she went on to say this. She said, it does change how I feel about Trump. He said there would be no new wars, and he said that gas would be below $3 a gallon. I am not happy with him right now. And Burrow is one of many female Trump voters who are now backing away from the regime and this movement. So I want you to check this out. So this is a MAGA-friendly pollster who was on the Charlie Kirk show. I believe this was from today. And he was asked about the midterms. And here's what he says. And you can see, like, he's very reluctant to say this.
Bodes well for 2028. Is there any good news for the midterms?
Well, you said stay positive. What am I positive about? Look, I'm just, guys, I mean, I tried to scream and yell for almost a year now about how to fix 2026. There's a purification through subtraction going on, which I think is important for people to understand. And the people that have been subtracted are what I'm calling all the winning parts, right? The younger voters, the younger, especially black men, Hispanics, right? And by the way, I think we don't talk enough about how much better Donald Trump did with younger women in 2024. They have been one of the widest.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we just ignore that. They have slipped the most in our polling. Some of it had to deal with Epstein. Some of the war. They don't like the war. Their economy. Maha is big, huge.
Rich.
Yeah.
There you go. So, I mean, MAGA people hate watching this. You don't have to believe me. You can believe someone from your own side. And in another Washington Post article from today, there was a journalist who spoke with a female commentator and comedian. She's 32 years old. Her name, I think, is pronounced Erin Wexler. It's spelled Arynn. Anyway, she admitted that the vibe had shifted and that MAGA is now considered to be kind of cringe. So let me bring this up for you guys. So this woman told the Washington Post, quote, "We were cool for 2.5 minutes. That time has passed." That is probably the funniest thing that she has said. The only funny thing. That's why I said comedian with the air quotes, because I watched some of her videos. I watched some of her, stand up. She's not funny. She's just not funny. I mean, I'm sorry, but MAGA comedy is just so predictable. It's so boring now. It's like, oh, trans people. Yeah. And, pronouns. Oh, I mean, it's all the same. And they always punch down. They're always punching down at, groups that have no power. And the reason why is because they're in bed with the elites now. They're in bed with the powerful. So they can't punch up. They'll be punching at their own. They'll be punching at Donald Trump and the people that they helped to put in power that they're aligned with. So this is all they know how to do. And they're just not funny people. They're just boring. So anyway, back to the story. So there was another person, a 35-year-old that they spoke with. This guy's name is Bart Hutchkins. He is the co-owner and chef of a MAGA-friendly restaurant in DC. And he told the journalist that MAGA has lost its edge, and he posited why. He said, quote, "Outsiders were the coolest part of the movement, and they stopped listening to those people. They kicked Maha in the face and started listening to Lindsey Graham. The thing that was never cool is now in the driver's seat." And then Natalie Winters, who you guys may have heard of before, she is a 25-year-old co-host of Steve Bannon's War Room podcast. She said she thinks that a lot of Donald Trump voters know that the MAGA movement sucks, but they're afraid to say anything. They're afraid to admit it because they fear retribution. And she told the Post this. She said, "What is cool now is being brave enough to critique the administration for not fulfilling their campaign promises." And here's the thing, it's easy to understand why people are afraid to speak out because, if you look on Twitter, it's like it's just filled with the Kool-Aid drinkers. It's filled with everyone who says that they still love Trump, they still love the MAGA movement. The people who dare to speak out get bashed, and they get bashed from both sides. So they get it from the left for obvious reasons, but then they get it from the right for daring to tell the truth. And now you see what happened today with Joe Kent, speaking out against the war. I mean, now people are going to be terrified. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you got to go watch that other video that I recorded today. So anyway, I'm thinking we might see the polar opposite of 2016. The polls might be overestimating Trump's support this time. And even still, the Washington Post pointed out, they had a poll that came out last month, and it showed that young Kamala Harris voters, people who voted for her in 2024, they are far more enthusiastic about voting in the midterms than their Republican counterparts. So they said that among 18 to 39-year-olds who voted for Trump, only 51% of them said, yeah, I'm absolutely going to vote in November. When they looked at the Kamala Harris 2024 voters, it was 77%. So a 26-point advantage for the Democrats within that same age group. So it could be even lower with Trump voters. That may be an overestimate. So anyway, guys, I thought this was good news. And again, as long as this war continues on, it's going to get worse for Trump and the Republicans. Going to get worse for them, better for the Democrats. All right. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.